everybody, welcome back to Furniture Flipping Teacher. I'm Lauren and I am so ready for a furniture flip, and I am gonna bring you guys along on the entire process of flipping this Stanley dresser. So I have had this dresser for, man, some of these pieces I've had for a while. I think it's been about 2 years. So it is about time that we tackle it. And actually someone did claim this from my inventory on our Fournier website. So that was super cool. So she's got exactly how she wants me to do this piece. So we are going to dive right in. I'm gonna go ahead and remove all of the hardware so that we can get on to cleaning. Okay, hardware is all off of there, and this is just hardware that I don't see myself ever using again, especially the large stuff. I may keep the knobs because those are kind of vintagey, so I'm gonna set those guys aside, but everything else is going to be donated. So let's clean. We are actually going to strip clean. So what that means is I am going to be using a stripper for probably like one of the first times here on the channel. I have a love-hate relationship with stripper. Honestly, I hate it. So I guess it's just a hate relationship. I've only really ever used like the citrus strip stuff, and I just haven't had great results. I don't know if I was using it wrong or if it's just not the best product, but we're gonna try something new today, something that I have heard a lot of people using and then really loving. And then one awesome thing is that it is actually it doesn't contain harsh or caustic chemicals. So you can use this indoors, you can use this with no mask. Technically I could use it with no gloves, I just don't really want it on me. So I am excited. This is called Green Easy. And I am going to just apply it to the top of the dresser and then the remainder of it as well, because we're going to be getting the finish off of this. And I think that this will just give us a little bit of a head start. The one thing is it does have to set on there for like about 2 to 4 hours. So we're gonna have a little bit of a lull time, but we're gonna let this do more of the work than me. So it says, it's the strip and clean, which is how I know it's cleaner. Shaken lightly and apply by use of brush to all exposed areas, and it should be applied in a thick, even layer. So we're going for it. Here we go. I'm going to just kind of pour it on and start spreading it out. It actually has like a fresh smell almost, so it's really not bad at all as far as the smell goes. All right, I'm gonna take the drawers out so that I can put the stripper on these as well. Give them a quick label. believe that is everywhere that I have applied stripper. So it is currently 1:14. I'll be back around 3:15 to check some things out. And hopefully over the next 2 hours, this stripper will do its job right. All right, it's time to see if this stripper has done its job. And I'm just gonna take a plastic putty knife and scoop it right into this box. And one awesome thing about this Green Easy stripper is that we can just throw this in the trash. We don't have to worry about like putting it into toxic waste because this is eco-friendly. So I'm super excited to see if this did what it's supposed to do. Here we go. Oh my goodness. This is so satisfying. Look at that. Oh my gosh. One row. Well, it worked. I did the whole top. Took just a few minutes to scrape off and I'm super pleased with it. I think the top is definitely gonna be the easiest part because it's nice and flat, but now we're gonna move on to the more intricate areas and see if it works in those spots too. All right, everything is stripped, at least like most of the way. So it's still messy, but this stuff is, I mean, it's pretty cool. So this is what the fronts of the drawers look like right now. So you can definitely tell that a lot of the darker finish came off, but there's still some in the little crevices and areas like that. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the Green Easy finishing cleaner and just clean up the edges. So I've got a scouring pad here and I'm gonna I actually put it in a spray bottle. So this is the finishing cleaner. I'm gonna spray the areas and then I'm going to just scrub a little bit with the scouring pad to just release all of that finish officially. And that this will also just help clean up the residue of the stripper. But I mean, it's looking really good. It only took me about 45 minutes to strip off with the scraper. So really not too bad, especially for a large nine drawer dresser with so much intricacies. So I let the dresser dry overnight so that way it's ready to sand now. And I'm just gonna be sanding so that we get all of the residue off and all of the leftover varnish areas. The stripper is not really meant to get it completely stripped, but it's gonna help save on sanding time. So I've got a Pro Foam here, abrasive on my Surf Prep, and we're gonna just sand it down. have gotten the base body of the dresser all sanded down, and this is a solid pine piece. It's a little bit of a softer wood, so I'm super glad that I did the stripper because it would have been easy to sand through the veneer on the top. But you can definitely tell a difference between just after the stripper and then after you sand it, because it's gonna be a lot more of a lighter color wood. So I need to do this with all of the drawers as well. I'm gonna be using the Surf Prep Pro Foam abrasives. These are gonna really help me get around these little front details and not compromise the integrity of them. They're not going to flatten out or anything. So we've got, let's see, 9 drawers to sand the rest of the way down, and then we'll be able to move on past sanding. We are going to do a paint wash now that we've got all of everything sanded down to raw wood. So like I said, this is a pine dresser. So we're gonna get a lot of these we have a lot of these knots in the wood. It's a knotty pine, and there's a lot of little dents, but I think that that's gonna really add to the character of this dresser. There's really no getting around those being darker areas. But the pine does have kind of a yellow tint to it, which is something that we don't want. We are actually going for a bit of a darker paint wash to kind of make this into a darker wood look, but not too dark. Kind of like a medium, let's say medium. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start layering on the paint wash. So when you do paint washes, you can do as many paint washes as you want to. I am gonna start with kind of a tan color chalk paint, and I've got some water in here already, and I'm just gonna dump some of my paint. It's about a 50-50, probably a little bit more water than paint into this mixture. It's totally up to you on how diluted you want your paint wash to be, and I'm getting it all over the place, so I am just going to get started. This first coat is really going to help minimize those yellow tones in the pine wood. Now I'm just going to take a lint-free cloth and wipe back the excess of that paint wash. Okay, so that first little coat should really, like I said, eliminate those yellow tones. It's not gonna do a whole lot for the color and the end result, but it's just going to neutralize the yellow, which is what we're going for. So now I'm gonna do that on the rest of the areas of the dresser, and then once everything's dry, we'll come back and we'll continue to layer the paint wash. This is gonna be good. All right, so I got the whole dresser paint washed, and then I started on this drawer here. I've already kind of sanded back the middle because we are getting some hardware ghosting, if you see that right there. It's just basically when the old hardware leaves marks from just fading over the years. So it stayed lighter, whereas the rest of it got darker. Because this is such a small area to kind of get into, and I think it's solid pine in there, but it may be some veneer, some like thick veneer. I am going to try my hand at some wood bleach. I've used wood bleach in the past and it's really worked well. I've never used it for this specific case scenario, so I'm kind of interested to see if it'll help me even out those wood tones a little bit. But what I've got here is the Zinsser bleach solution. So there's a solution A, which I'll put on for 5 minutes, and then there's a solution B, which then I'll put on. All right, so that bleaching method really got the hardware ghosting lines on the drawers eliminated. So now I am going to take my paint wash and apply that to the drawers just like I did on the base and body of the dresser, so that we can get this full consistent look before we apply the next layer. Alrighty, I am ready for putting some stain on the dresser over the top of the paint wash. Like I said earlier, I was thinking about layering the paint washes over the top, but this is kind of similar to that. It's a water-based stain and it'll kind of like sit on top of the surface, but I'm really gonna be able to darken it up with this. I'm gonna be using old-fashioned Old Smoky Gel stains from Lily Moon Paint. Check out the code down below. FFT10 gets you 10% off of any of their products, which I love their products. We are a retailer for them. So what I'm gonna do is just lightly spritz my surface, and then I'm gonna use the blue sponge here to go across, and then I'll wipe back any excess. So I just am gonna put some on my plate here, grab some paper towels, and go to town. I feel like this has a tad bit of green in it, which is good because we're trying to eliminate the redness in that other paint, as well as like some of that yellow tones in the pine dresser. So this should be good. I might not be wiping any back. Might just be kind of rubbing all this in all the way, kind of going with the flow at this point. All right, it's time for the drawers now. I'm gonna do the same thing that I did on the body of the dresser on the drawers. So we're gonna spray it a little bit with some mist and then I'm actually gonna use a brush just for the detail pieces, I guess. It's hard for that sponge to kind of get all up in there. So I'm gonna use a brush as well on these areas. Let's do it. I'm really loving this color, I will say. This is coming out good. All right, it is now the fun part. I'm gonna go ahead and pop up my spray tent and we're ready for a top coat on this guy. So I love having this Wagner spray tent because it's super easy to pop up in about 5 minutes. And it really contains the overspray so it doesn't get on everything. I know I'm just doing a top coat, but that can still kind of leave dust residue everywhere else. And so I still like to go ahead and put this up so that it can just refrain from doing that. All right, it's up. Let's get this dresser in this spray tent. right, the top coat is just about dry on the top, but everywhere else is good to go. So it's time for the last step. We're gonna install the hardware. So I ended up getting new hardware because some of that was missing, and then also it was just a little bit outdated, and I really think that this will modernize this piece along, and in tandem with the color update. So on the top drawers, we're gonna do these black knobs. And so those are gonna go right there. And then on the bottom drawers, we're gonna do some 8-inch poles down here. And then the middle drawers are actually 6-inch poles, but these are really nice. I'm gonna link them down below, but they're like super heavy duty and they really didn't cost too much. I really like to try and get high quality hardware so that one, it's gonna last longer, and two, it's just gonna look nicer and really hold up to when people are utilizing the hardware as it should be. Sometimes it can just get like plasticky looking or really light feeling, but it's important to try and seek out that really high quality hardware. All right, and just like that, we've got a finished furniture piece. I have to say, I feel like I say this every time, but like seriously, a lot of the times, each piece of furniture that I do is my new favorite piece of furniture. And I don't know if it's just because it's like the most recent in my head and it's done, but like this, it turned out honestly better than I thought it was going to. I'm in love with the color and the black hardware. Just like finished it off. The hardware can make or break a piece of furniture. So super glad we went with this really nice black sleek hardware because I think it just goes perfectly with this tone of wood. So we're all in with this dresser around $300. I bought it for $100, and then between the stripper, the hardware, the sanding pads, and the gel stain and the paint wash, all of that kind of went out to be about $100 for the hardware, and then everything else together kind of cost $100. You know, I didn't use all of the stripper, but I'm gonna account for all of it in this project because I may or may not use it on future projects, and I just wanna make sure to go ahead and account fully for it on this project, but definitely has some more projects to be squeezed out of it. This was a custom piece of furniture, so someone actually claimed it off of our FournierFurnitureCo.com website locally. So she claimed this and then sent me some inspiration photos, and this is what we ended up with. So I ended up selling it total for $950. So after about a $300 buy-in with all of the costs of everything, including the dresser, that's gonna give us about a $650 profit. So it's been a little while since we've kind of updated our profits with you guys, but I have sold a couple of pieces of furniture from previous videos. So just a quick update, I sold the green dresser for $750, and I sold the 10 drawer kind of grayish dresser with the wooden top 4 drawers for $700 as well. So I think I've kind of found my sweet spot as far as selling pieces on Facebook Marketplace. I'm finding that that 700, 750 mark is pretty good, but I do kind of have to wait just a tad bit longer than maybe I would like to wait, but I'd rather get the higher profit than the lower number quicker. So I'm willing to wait. We've got the space. We've been super busy with the flip off. All information can be found on that down below. It just was amazing to have everybody here in person and to see the show coming to life over on Patreon. I mean, you guys, seriously, if you're interested in anything such as a furniture flipping competition show, definitely go check that out. Thank you guys so much for your support. We love you and appreciate you, and I'll see you on the flip side.